Hello and welcome. The Using ADPQI video will walk you through the Emergency Department Prevention Quality Indicators, or ADPQI software. Any data shown on the screens in this walkthrough is de-identified. When you have downloaded and installed the ADPQI software, you will first see this main screen. If there is an application update, the screen will prompt you to install the update. If there is a data version update, you can see a notification here. You can switch to that new data version from this screen. You do not have to uninstall the previous version of the data. You can easily switch to the new version. On the left menu here, there are other options that you can use for all the steps that you take in the application. For more details, there's a software instruction document on AHRQ's Quality Indicators website, which you can download and review. You can also check manually for application updates and data version updates from these links here. In general, there are three main steps in using the application: importing data, generating indicators, and finally, generating a report. Let's start with the first step of importing data. You can drop your data file here, or you can click on the Browse Files and then select the data file that you have. In this screen, you can specify whether your data has quotes like this, or whether there are column headers in your data file. One other thing to notice is the next button will be enabled and be in yellow color, which will allow you to click on the link. If the screen is processing data, this button will be grayed out and you will not be able to click. In the Check Readability screen, this application is scanning your input data file to ensure that each row can be read in the data file. In the Data Mapping screen, map the variables from your data input file to the corresponding AHRQ quality indicator variables. This mapping is necessary for the software to know how to process your data. You can drag and drop the variables from the right onto the grid here. It will also display some of the data elements that are in the input file. Review the variables that have and have not been mapped to your data file. Unmapped recommended variables are specifically called out because the measure calculations may not be accurate unless these variables are included and mapped. No variables have been unmapped here. And if you look in the All Variables section, you will see all the variables have been mapped. During this step in the import process, the application is reading your input file for the data mapping that was specified. Mapped variables have specific meanings according to the coding convention in your organization, and they have specific meaning in the ADPQI application. For example, in the ADPQI software, died visit equals 1 is coded for dying in the emergency department. Your data does not have to use 1 to indicate a patient died in the ED. But for the ADPQI application to calculate PQE indicators, you will need to provide the translation in the crosswalk screen. Review the number and severity of errors to determine whether you want to continue with the data load process or exit the process at this time and fix the data issues before loading the data. For example, here in the principal diagnosis code is missing in 3 of the records. These records will not be downloaded. Clicking the Finish button will take you back to the main screen, or you can click Finish and generate indicators from here. This will be the second step in the process that I mentioned earlier. Click Generate Indicators, and in this screen, there are no options available. Click on Next, and the application will start generating indicators for the data that you have loaded. In this screen, it will show a summary of numerators, denominators, and the observed rates. Finally, in the third step, we can generate the reports. Here, we will choose the area report. In this screen, you can select or deselect the indicators that are to be included in the report. You can also specify the population year for the report. You can also select or deselect states that are to be included in the report. In the stratifier screen, select all the stratifiers that you want. Drag from the right list and drop in the left list. When the report is generated, it is grouped by these three items. In the additional options screen, you can specify other options for your data analysis. For example, you can scale your own outcomes. You can also specify what rates you want in the report. You can also choose the county, state, and metro names instead of the FIPS code for the report. The application will create the report. You can see the area report summary on the screen. You can also export this report for your analysis later. This report will be available in your Downloads folder. Once you are done, you'll be taken back to the main screen. We can generate the patient report from the main screen here by clicking on the patient report. Again, the data shown is de-identified. This screen provides a view of the individual cases flagged for each indicator. This screen can be useful for exploring which cases were included in the numerator and denominator for each indicator. You can also drill down to each of these case details. This report shows you the inclusion and exclusion logic that were used for processing the data. You can also save this report. This concludes the Using EDPQI video. For more details about using the application, a software instructions document is available on the AHRQ's Quality Indicators website. This document can also be viewed while using the application by clicking on the question mark icon. There are also other resources on the website described in the EDPQI website resources video. Thank you for watching.